This is Benny the bean. He is a lima bean. He is made up of some yummy nutrients. He is a puzzle of protein, fiber, carbohydrates, and vitamins. Today he is on a special mission. He will be going through the alimentary canal of the human body. He is going to need some special helpers to go through this 30-foot long journey along the way. Let's introduce these. There's pancreas and there's liver. There's also a special friend the liver has called the gallbladder. Okay, we're all ready. Let's get started on this adventure. First stop, welcome to the mouth. Benny has now entered the mouth. He is currently experiencing some pretty weird sensations. He's being chewed up. He is going through a physical breakdown. He's also being showered with saliva, coming from the salivary glands in the mouth. This shower is very important. The saliva is made up of water and some digestive enzymes such as amylase. This breaks down the starch in Benny into maltose. Not only is he going through a physical breakdown, he is also going through a chemical breakdown. After all these breakdowns, Benny has entered a new stage of his life. Meet Benny the bolus. Second stop, welcome to the esophagus. Bolus Benny is having a little bit of issues moving down the esophagus. Lucky for him, peristalsis is already occurring. Peristalsis is a wave of smooth muscle contractions. Peristalsis will keep Bolus Benny moving down his path. This adventure can continue. Now, onto the stomach. Stop 3, the stomach. When Bolus Benny enters the stomach, he notices that the stomach is churning. He feels like he has entered a swimming pool. The pH conditions here are very acidic in here. That's just how the enzymes like it. It looks like some exocrine secretion is occurring. As Bolus Benny is identified by the stomach, nervous signals are sent to the glands within the stomach lining. The glands are expanding. They release gastric juices in the pits of the stomach. There are 3 types of glands in the gastric pits of the stomach. Through one of these cells, hydrochloric acid is released. The swimming pool consists of hydrochloric acid. It's very useful. It denatures proteins, and it also activates something called pepsinogen. When pepsinogen is activated, it is called pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme. It hydrolyzes proteins to simpler polypeptides. Bolus Benny really benefits from this. One of his nutrients is protein. He is being broken down even more. Now, you may be wondering, how does the stomach lining stand these acidic conditions? Thank goodness for mucus, also secreted from the lining of the stomach. In the 2 to 6 hours Bolus Benny has spent churning in the stomach, he has noticed all these things happening. He has also noticed that he has become more liquid. He has turned into chyme. The stomach notices that chyme Benny is ready to leave. Signals are sent to terminate the secretion of acid from the gastric pit as it is no longer needed. Stop 4. Chyme Benny is about to enter a very long tube in his adventure, the small intestine, which is really not so small. In the small intestine, chyme Benny will go through 2 stages, digestion and absorption. We will also get to see what our friend pancreas is all about. Benny will be traveling through the lumen of the small intestine. Every part of the small intestine is important. Benny will be sure to experience all the uses when he goes through digestion and absorption. When chyme Benny first enters the small intestine, he is in the duodenum. Although some of his nutrients were broken down in the stomach, he's still feeling a bit undigested. This is because some of the molecules couldn't be digested in the acidic environment of the stomach. That's okay though, the duodenum is also the pancreas's friend. When the pancreas sees that the chyme Benny has entered the duodenum, pancreatic cells secrete pancreatic juice into the lumen. Let's quickly go over what's in these pancreatic juice. There are 3 digestive enzymes, lipase, amylase, and trypsin. There's also a base, sodium bicarbonate. Since chyme Benny was in the stomach, he's feeling quite acidic. Sodium bicarbonate will leave him feeling more neutralized. Also, apart from the pancreatic juice, the pancreas also produces 2 hormones, insulin and glucagon. They help with glucose metabolism. Pancreatic juice helps by beginning many hydrolysis reactions. Amylase is digested into starch, which forms maltose. Lipase digests Benny's triglycerides into fatty acids, and trypsin hydrolyzes the proteins into smaller polypeptides. Digestion of Benny will continue, even as he moves on to the second part of the small intestine experience, absorption. Now, let's not forget Benny's friend, the liver. The liver is a very useful friend and helps with Benny's journey, but also handles the nutrients that have been absorbed from Benny. When the presence of fat is found in the duodenum, it causes our friend, the gallbladder, to release the bile it had stored, which was made by the liver to help break down the fats. This aids in absorption. The liver has many other functions as well. It helps with the circulation of blood, using its hepatic artery, portal vein, sinusoids, and hepatic vein. It also makes sure we don't have too much or too little of a nutrient in our blood. In some cases, it stores the excess nutrients. It synthesizes plasma proteins from the ER and Golgi body, as well as cholesterol, which is used in the production of bile. It also helps in producing new red blood cells through the transfer of iron. Also, the Kupffer cells within the sinusoids ingest the old and damaged erythrocytes, which are red blood cells, through phagocytis, thus recycles them. And most importantly, it detoxifies the toxins in our blood. This helps especially with alcohol. Now let's continue with Benny's long journey. The small intestine has many layers. All these layers are to help Benny become absorbed as possible. The outermost layer is the longitudinal smooth muscle, then the circular smooth muscle, then the villi. If you zoom in on these folds, you'll see the villi is composed of many cells. Together, these cells form an epithelial layer, which absorb molecules of Benny as he is sailing through the lumen. The folds in the epithelial layer increase the surface area, so Benny can be thoroughly absorbed. Within the villi, there is a capillary bed and a lymphatic system. They all help absorb and transport the nutrients Benny provides to the rest of the body. That's not all. You see those tiny finger-like projections on the surface of the villi? Those are the microvilli. They furthermore increase the surface area of Benny's absorption. Benny's nutrients pass through the epithelial layer through active mechanism. The glucose and amino acids he contains are pumped across the membrane using ATP found in the epithelial villi cells. Sometimes nutrients can be absorbed through passive mechanisms such as simple and facilitated diffusion. The more types of transport mechanisms, the more nutrients can be absorbed. Apart from active transport mechanisms, pinocytes is another active transport mechanism used to absorb molecules from the lumen into the interior of villi cells. Benny has made many contributions and is ready to continue his journey. At this time, Benny is feeling a little bit drained. A lot of his nutrients have been absorbed in the small intestine. That's okay though. His next stop is the large intestine. Since he is made up of fiber, he is having an easy time moving through the large intestine. As he makes his way through, a lot of the water he once had is getting sucked out of him. Not much of him is left, which causes him to harden and turn into Benny the feces. Now comes the last step of his very long adventure. Benny has reached the last stage of his journey. He is very different than how he was at the beginning. Currently, he doesn't have any absorbable nutrients left in him, just some undigested dietary fiber. It's been a good journey, but it's time for him to be adjusted. Bye-bye, Benny. You will be missed. The end.